The alarm struck first, sharp, metallic notes slicing through the calm bridge of the ISS Valiant. Captain Rhea Caden jolted from her console, eyes narrowing as cascading red glyphs filled the air. The holographic display flickered, stabilizing into a single message pulsing with urgency. Priority Omega transmission, Earth Command. All human vessels, return home. Galactic Council has declared exile protocol. For a beat, no one breathed. The hum of the reactors and the distant whisper of cooling vents were the only sounds. Rhea broke the silence. Put it through. Now. The bridge lights dimmed as the message played. A weary officer from Earth Command appeared, sweat glistening on his brow, a tremor in his voice that betrayed the gravity of the moment. All human vessels beyond Sol, communication is restricted. Earth has been sealed behind a quantum barrier imposed by the Galactic Council. We are under forced isolation. Do not attempt to negotiate. Repeat, do not attempt. Static drowned the transmission. The screen blinked out. Lieutenant Mara inhaled sharply. They can't just lock us out like that. There's no precedent. Rhea steadied her tone. We don't rely on precedent. We rely on facts. Someone pushed the Council into making an extreme decision, and I doubt it was our diplomats. Her gaze swept the bridge. I want all channels monitored. Power up shields. Quietly. Understood, Mara replied, fingers darting across controls. The ship had always felt alive to Rhea, but now the Valiant seemed tense, braced for impact. She recognized the sensation. It was the same feeling that crept over soldiers who knew orders were coming, orders that changed everything. Commander Holt, her second-in-command, leaned closer. This doesn't match any known protocol. Exile is reserved for species that destabilize galactic order. We haven't done anything remotely close, Rhea answered. Holt's jaw tensed. Then someone wants a war. Rhea didn't respond. She didn't need to. Her crew already felt the unease threading through the ship. A new alert flared. Captain, Mara called. We're detecting a distress signal, human origin. Short-range beacon. It's from Helios 9. Rhea exhaled slowly. That station wasn't due to report for another 2 months. Signal sounds fragmented, Mara added. But it's screaming for assistance. And, she hesitated. It contains a Council encryption signature. The bridge stirred. Council encryption meant one thing, violence. Rhea straightened. Set course for Helios 9. Maximum burn. We don't leave our people behind. The stars elongated as the Valiant surged forward. Hours later, the station appeared, a shattered ring drifting in darkness, hull ruptured, lights extinguished. Debris floated around it like frozen ash. Even from a distance, the damage was unmistakable. Holt muttered. That's not structural failure. Those are weapon signatures. Rhea's gut clenched. Energy scoring burned along the station's spine, clean, precise, unmistakably Council enforcement patterns. She'd seen those wounds before. On war relics the Council insisted they never fired. Mara scanned the wreckage. Life signs weak but present. Roughly 7 survivors. Rhea didn't hesitate. Prepare docking clamps. Holt, suit up with extraction teams. We move fast. The docking was rough. The station's rotation forced the Valiant to match its irregular spin. When the breach finally opened, a stale, metallic odor swept into the airlock. Burned circuitry, vacuum-blackened metal, and an undertone of something darker. Rhea entered with Holt and the medics. Their boots echoed across a corridor strewn with collapsed panels and residue from plasma impacts. A medic pointed to a sealed door. Life signs behind here. Holt forced it open with a power brace. The survivors, 5 engineers, 1 pilot, and a scientist, sat huddled in the dark, faces dusted with soot. The scientist, Dr. Elias Marshall, lifted his head. Thank God. Captain Caden? His voice cracked. We weren't sure anyone would come. We're here now, Rhea said gently. Who attacked you? Marshall's eyes flicked toward the ceiling, as though the memory itself weighed him down. Council enforcement. They stormed the station without warning. They searched for our research banks. He swallowed. They said we were harboring forbidden data. Rhea exchanged a quick glance with Holt. What kind of data? Marshall clutched a portable drive, holding it as if it contained a pulse. Something we didn't even understand. A discovery from deep field scans, a signal echo outside conventional frequencies. Mara's voice came over comms. Captain, enemy vessels inbound. 3 Council interceptors, vectoring directly toward us. Holt growled. They're hunting survivors. Or something those survivors found. Rhea whispered. She stepped toward Marshall. If you come with us, the Council will target you. Are you ready for that? Marshall nodded once. If they went this far to silence our research, then losing it would be far worse. Rhea tapped her comm. Mara, get the Valiant ready. We're departing immediately. The team rushed back to the ship as the interceptors closed in. Rhea took the bridge while the extraction bay sealed below. Council ships demanding we stand down, Mara reported. They're charging weapons. The bridge lights shifted to tactical red. Holt strapped into his seat. We can't outgun them. We don't have to, Rhea said. Set the slingshot. Holt shot her a look. Rhea, that maneuver hasn't been tested in full combat conditions. That's why it'll work. Stars rotated on the display as the Valiant accelerated toward the fractured station, using its drifting mass as an improvised gravity well. Engines roared. The ship curved sharply, velocity spiking beyond safe thresholds. The interceptors fired. Their shots skimmed the Valiant's hull moments before the ship catapulted away, burst through the debris field, and vanished into the shadows of deep space. Silence followed, then cheers from the crew. But Rhea didn't join the celebration. Her attention locked on Marshall, who approached her with the drive still clutched in shaking hands. Captain, he said softly, there's something you need to know. Rhea gave him her full focus. Go on. The signal we discovered, what we call the null frequency, it didn't originate from any known civilization. It came from a location older than the Council's first recorded star systems. And its pattern, it reacted to human transmissions. Specifically human. Holt stiffened. Meaning? Marshall exhaled. Earth wasn't exiled because of aggression or treaty violations. It was exiled because of this discovery. The Council doesn't fear human actions, they fear what humanity is becoming. The bridge settled into stunned quiet. Rhea absorbed the words, a chill threading down her spine. Exile wasn't punishment. It was containment. She straightened, voice cutting through the silence. Then we uncover the truth. And we make sure the galaxy hears it. Outside, the Valiant slipped deeper into uncharted dark, the first sparks of a greater conflict already forming behind it. The Valiant drifted in the quiet between stars, engines low, hull lights dim to avoid detection. Captain Rhea Caden studied the star chart projected before her. A red pulse marked their next destination, the dead world of Karen 3. According to Marshall's recovered files, that barren planet was the origin point of the null frequency. The thought gnawed at her. A signal older than recorded civilization reacting to humanity? That was no coincidence. Someone in the Council knew exactly what it meant, and feared it. Holt stepped beside her. Course plotted. No patrols within range. His fingers tapped thoughtfully on the console. If the Council hit Helios 9 that fast, they'll anticipate our next move. They might, Rhea replied. But they're blind in this region. Karen 3 sits outside their usual patrol lanes. Holt grunted. Convenient if you like haunted planets. Rhea allowed a thin smile. We've survived worse. Marshall entered the bridge, cheeks hollow from stress but eyes sharp with purpose. Captain, I've decrypted more of the data. Karen 3 wasn't just the signal's source, it was once inhabited by a species with advanced predictive modeling. They vanished long before the Council existed. Rhea gestured for him to continue. They built a vault to preserve their knowledge. Marshall explained. Based on the coordinates Helios 9 recovered, the vault lies beneath the planet's southern crater field. Holt frowned. A vault untouched for millennia doesn't stay intact by chance. I agree, Marshall said. The ruins likely contain security mechanisms we can't predict. But we have no other path. Rhea nodded. Prepare a landing team. We move when we reach orbit. Karen 3 loomed ahead hours later, a ghost world wrapped in gray storms. Its surface shimmered with static from constant magnetic disturbances. The Valiant descended through the churning clouds, shaking as the atmosphere clawed at its hull. Rhea, Marshall, Holt, and a small squad donned hazard suits and boarded the shuttle. As they cut through the final layer of clouds, the crater field emerged, a wasteland of cracked stone, jagged fissures, and dormant alien structures half swallowed by dust. Atmosphere unstable but breathable with filters, Holt reported. Rhea peered at the ruins. Land near the central ridge. That's where the vault entrance should be. The shuttle touched down, scattering dust into the wind. Rhea stepped onto the surface, boots sinking slightly into fine ash. Every sound felt amplified in the eerie quiet. Marshall's scanner beeped. This way. They walked through the ruins, towering pillars eroded into skeletal forms, shattered domes that once held meaning, now silent witnesses to a civilization erased by time. The wind funneled through gaps, producing low, hollow tones like distant voices. Marshall slowed near a slope of cracked stone. Below us. The ground trembled as a hidden mechanism activated, triggered by their presence. The cracked stone split along old seams, revealing a descending platform glowing with faint blue light. Holt muttered. Still functional after millennia? Remarkably so, Marshall said. Rhea stepped onto the platform. Let's see what they left behind. The platform lowered them into darkness. As they descended, lights flickered along walls etched with swirling patterns, lines that almost resembled constellations rearranging themselves. The chamber they entered was vast, illuminated by soft, pale light from floating orbs. In the center, a circular device rested atop a pedestal, its surface shifting like liquid metal. Marshall inhaled sharply. This matches the Helios scans. The artifact. Rhea approached cautiously. Is it active? Only partially, Marshall replied. It's waiting for an input. Holt circled the room. Strange there are no guardians. No automated defenses. Maybe we're missing something, Rhea said. The chambers answered her. The artifact shimmered, emitting a single, resonant tone. Light spilled outward, swirling into a holographic figure, neither humanoid nor fully abstract, a shape composed of flowing geometry and luminous strands. It spoke in a layered voice, calm yet resonant. Observers from the future age. You have reached the archive of the one who saw cycles. Marshall swallowed. It's sentient. Holt raised his weapon instinctively, but Rhea motioned him to lower it. The figure continued. This archive contains warnings for the next descendant species. If you understand this message, then the era of stagnation approaches its end. Rhea took a step forward. Who are you? What happened here? The hologram shifted seamlessly into star maps. We predicted the rise and fall of civilizations. Our models showed a species would emerge, resilient, adaptive, defying uniform projection. A species capable of reshaping the balance of power. Rhea felt her heartbeat spike. Marshall whispered, Humanity. The figure gleamed brighter. Your kind breaks deterministic cycles. You are not destroyers. You are the correction. Rhea tried to process the statement. Correction to what? The hologram projected images of a centralized empire, imposing order across countless worlds, different in form, yet eerily reminiscent of the Galactic Council. When power centralizes without challenge, stagnation corrodes progress. Our models warned that the enforcers of uniformity would rise again. You, those who bend probability, would appear to restore balance. Holt's voice dropped. The Council must know. Marshall's expression darkened. They knew enough to fear what this implies. Humans aren't unpredictable anomalies. We fit a pattern that threatens their control. The chamber vibrated. The artifact pulsed harder, emitting a beacon-like signal. Rhea snapped around. What's it doing? Marshall checked his readout. It's transmitting. Long range, multi-spectrum. Anyone with advanced sensors will detect it. Holt grimaced. And guess who scans this region extensively? Rhea touched her calm. Valiant report. Mara's tense voice flowed through. Captain, we detect incoming warp signatures. Council vessels. At least 6. The hologram dimmed. Our time ends. Safeguard the knowledge. Cycles must continue. The artifact folded inward, forming a compact crystal-like shape that floated gently onto the pedestal. Rhea reached out and grabbed it. Extraction now. The shuttle raced upward through the storm-laden atmosphere. Lightning clawed at their hull as the planet roared behind them. They broke free into space, only to find the Council blockade already forming. 4 interceptors, 2 cruisers. Holt cursed. They're deploying nets. They want us alive enough to interrogate. Rhea's jaw set. Valiant, prepare pickup on Vector 7. Full stealth burn. The cruisers opened fire, bursts of ion light flaring across the void. The shuttle swerved, engines straining, warning lights flashing red. Marshall clutched the artifact. If they get this, everything collapses. We're not letting that happen, Rhea said. The Valiant burst from behind a shadowed moon, shields flaring as it slid between the Council ships and the shuttle. Holt smiled grimly. Beautiful timing. The docking sequence locked them in. As they stepped onto the bridge, Mara shouted, More ships warping in! Rhea didn't wait. Jump drive, now! The Valiant leapt into the dark, leaving the Council forces snapping at empty space. Rhea turned to her crew, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming. The Valiant tore through slipped space, engines groaning under the accelerated jump. Emergency lights flickered across the bridge as the ship strained to outrun the Council's tracking arrays. Rhea gripped her seat's armrest. Report. Mara tapped through diagnostics, tension carved into her face. Jump field stable. Hull integrity holding at 92%. But the Council's quantum trackers might still trace the energy signature. Holt leaned forward. Meaning we bought time, not safety. Rhea nodded. Then we used that time well. Marshall stood near the center console, the artifact secured in a containment cradle glowing pale silver. Its surface shifted subtly, not entirely idle, as though listening. We need a secure location to analyze this properly, Marshall said. A full decryption could reveal why the Council fears humanity enough to seal Earth. But whatever knowledge their ancient models predicted isn't simple. Rhea turned to him. Where do we start? Marshall hesitated. With someone who understands this kind of technology better than any of us. Holt raised a brow. Who? Marshall swallowed. Dr. Arya Solon. Rhea stiffened. The Exile? The same, Marshall confirmed. She was once part of the Council's Strategic Insight Division, the group responsible for analyzing species evolution patterns. They expelled her for refusing to suppress her findings. If anyone knows the truth behind the null frequency, it's her. Rhea weighed the risk. Location? A derelict refinery on the edge of the Rascon Nebula. She's been off-grid for years. Holt exhaled. Perfect place for someone who doesn't want to be found. Rhea stood. Set course. Hours later, they drifted through the swirling violet haze of the nebula. Charged dust particles brushed the hull like glowing embers. The abandoned refinery emerged, a skeletal structure dangling in the nebula's faint light, tethered to a fragmented moon by rusted cables. Mara frowned. No active power signatures. Place looks dead. Scan deeper, Rhea said. After a moment, Mara's eyes widened. Faint thermal pockets. Someone's inside. Rhea prepared an away team. They docked at a lateral airlock. Darkness swallowed the entry corridor, dust motes drifting weightlessly. The silence felt unnatural, too still, too watchful. Holt swept the hall with his rifle. I don't like this. No one asked you to, Rhea replied quietly. Stay alert. They moved deeper into the refinery, passing flickering monitors displaying frozen error codes. Pipes hissed sporadically, releasing bursts of cold vapor that evaporated instantly. Marshall glanced at his handheld scanner. Energy build up ahead. A door clanged open before them. Light spilled out. A slender woman stepped forward, hair streaked with silver, eyes sharp and unsettlingly calm. She wore a patched survival coat and held a compact plasma cutter, not quite a weapon, but not harmless either. "You're trespassing," she said. Rhea lifted her hands. "Dr. Arya Solon?" The woman studied them. "Depends who's asking, and whether you're worth listening to." Marshall stepped forward. "Arya, it's me. Elias." She blinked slowly. "So the council didn't kill you? Impressive. We need your help," Marshall said. Arya gestured them inside. "Then stop talking in the hall." Her workshop was a maze of devices, half-disassembled drones, and glowing containment fields. Strange symbols were etched onto several surfaces, patterns reminiscent of those on the artifact. Arya motioned to a central table. "Show me." Marshall placed the artifact down. Its surface rippled, reflecting the nebula's glow. Arya's calm demeanor fractured. "You brought that here?" Rhea approached her. "You know what it is?" "I know enough to be terrified," Arya answered. "That device is part of the archive network, a system built by a civilization the Council buries under layers of classified history." Holt crossed his arms. "They didn't bury it very well." Arya shook her head. "You misunderstand. The Council didn't erase the archive to protect themselves from knowledge. They erased it because it pointed to humanity as the next fulcrum species." Rhea's voice hardened. "We've seen the projections. The archivists predicted our rise." Arya tapped commands on a console, pulling up a deep space simulation. Patterns rippled outward like shockwaves. "The Council fears change," she explained. "Their power depends on stability, predictable species, predictable alliances, predictable outcomes. Humanity disrupts that pattern. You innovate under pressure, unify against overwhelming odds, and your technological evolution accelerates exponentially under threat." Holt muttered. "We're allergic to extinction." Arya continued. "The Council's real concern isn't that humans are dangerous. It's that you break stagnation. And stagnation is what keeps them in control." Marshall pointed to the simulation. "The archivists believed our emergence was necessary to avoid collapse." Arya nodded. "Without a chaotic catalyst, their term, galactic civilization decays into rigid, decaying bureaucracy. The Council wants order, not dynamism." Rhea rested her hands on the table. "They exiled Earth to contain us." "Correct," Arya said. "They planned to isolate humanity long enough for the archivist cycle to break." Marshall whispered. "But now, we have a piece of the archive." Arya stared at the artifact. "That changes everything." Before Rhea could speak, an alarm blared through the refinery. Holt spun toward the entrance. "Motion sensors triggered. Multiple contacts," Arya cursed. "The Council traced your jump signature. They're here." Rhea's pulse spiked. "How many?" Mara's voice crackled through comms from the Valiant. "Captain, 2 enforcement teams inbound, breaching from opposite sides of the facility." Arya grabbed a compact device and hurled it toward a wall panel. The entire room shimmered as a cloaking field activated. "That buys us a few minutes." Rhea lifted her weapon. "We'll hold them off." Arya stepped in front of her. "No. You don't understand. If they capture me, they'll extract every forbidden model I've memorized. If they capture you, they'll dissect your minds. We cannot be taken." Marshall's grip tightened around the artifact. "What do we do?" Arya took a breath. "Follow me." She led them down a narrow maintenance shaft. The echo of armored boots and metallic impacts followed them, growing closer. "Extraction point is ahead," Arya said. Holt frowned. "How do you know they haven't cut us off?" "Because," Arya answered, "I designed the Council's pursuit algorithms. They still use my work. Predicting their movements is simple." They reached a service hatch leading out to the refinery's outer scaffolding. The Valiant hovered beyond, shields glowing faintly. Rhea opened comms. Mara, cover fire! The Valiant unleashed a precise barrage toward the refinery, forcing Council soldiers to scatter. Arya paused at the hatch. This knowledge can't stay hidden anymore. You need to expose the Council's manipulation. You're coming with us, Rhea said firmly. Arya hesitated, then nodded. Then we don't stop running. They leapt onto the shuttle as the Council troops closed in. Blaster shots ricocheted across the scaffolding. The hatch slammed shut, engines roared, and they shot into space. As the refinery fell behind, Marshall looked at the artifact, its surface glowing brighter than ever. It's reacting again, he murmured. Arya studied it with troubled eyes. It knows the cycle has begun. Rhea stared into the starless void ahead. The Council wanted to cage humanity, she said. Now they've given us a reason to fight. No one disagreed. The Shadow War had started. The circular chamber vibrated as the Council's shields strained under the pressure of a storm forming in the void. Color ripples danced across the energy barrier like lightning trapped in glass. Everyone inside froze, not because they understood what they were seeing, but because something instinctive warned them that whatever approach wasn't natural. Arik stood in the center of the chamber, his wrists still bound by the shimmering grav cuffs, though they flickered as if unsure whether they should continue to exist. His pulse matched the rhythm of the distant thunder outside. Kalos paced near the central dais, his voice rising with genuine alarm. This isn't possible. Humans don't have access to the rift. No species has broken into it in 8,000 cycles. Lyra eyed the flickering lights overhead. Impossible seems like the wrong word when talking about humans lately. A crack spread across the Council's primary viewport, not from damage, but from pressure, the kind created when reality itself bent too close. Arik swallowed. That's not a storm. It's a transit ripple. He looked at the ceiling, speaking as if addressing something unseen. They're early. Kalos turned sharply. They? Who is they? Humans do not possess ships capable of that magnitude of distortion. A low hum resonated through the chamber, settling into a pulsing frequency that made the floor tremble. Arik recognized it instantly, the harmonic signature of a human worm-bore engine. But this was stronger than anything Earth had built before he'd been exiled. Lyra stepped closer to him. Arik, tell us the truth. Is this your doing? Did humans follow you here? I didn't call them, Arik said, voice steady but strained. But I knew they would come. The Council exiled Earth. You think we'd take that quietly? Humanity adapts faster under pressure than any species you've ever known. You forced us into survival mode. Kalos slammed his hands onto the console. This is lunacy. Humans are impulsive and reckless, yes, but constructing a rift-capable ship in a handful of cycles? Pure fantasy. Arik fixed him with an unblinking stare. We do impossible things when we're cornered. The chamber lights went dark. Every projection, every console, every hovering display collapsed simultaneously as though reality itself drew breath. Then a transmission cut through the silence. A woman's voice, calm, confident, unmistakably human, echoed through the chamber. This is Admiral Rhea Sol of the Terran Vanguard. Galactic Council, you have trespassed against Earth. Stand down and prepare for negotiation. Kalos stumbled backward. Terran Vanguard? That faction was theoretical, proposed, not established. Oh, it's established now, Arik murmured. Outside, the storm's center widened. A structure emerged, sleek, angular, and immense. The hull rippled like living metal, adapting as it peeled out of the rift's edge. Its silhouette dwarfed every Council ship combined. Lyra stepped forward. Arik, is that a warship? No, he whispered. It's a message. The Council chamber erupted with frantic dialogue as diplomats panicked, shouting over one another. The transport systems remained dead, nobody could flee. Kalos turned to Arik, voice trembling with accusation. You engineered this. You humans meant to threaten the Council. Arik shook his head. We meant to survive. You tried to erase us from the cosmic map. We learned to draw our own borders. The grav cuffs shattered, falling to the floor like brittle glass. Lyra instinctively reached for her sidearm but didn't draw it. She watched him carefully, studying not his movement, but his resolve. Arik, she said quietly, what is the Vanguard planning to do? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked toward the viewport, stopping just as the storm faded and the rift-borne ship stabilized in plain view. The vessel unfolded its solar armor wings, each panel glowing with a faint cerulean pulse, like a metallic creature stretching after a long sleep. They're here to talk, he finally said. But they won't stay peaceful if the Council tries another stunt. Kalos scoffed. The Council has 300 fleets. Arik gave him a look that made the temperature in the room feel colder. That ship out there isn't designed for a fleet battle. It's designed to end one. The calm sparked again. Arik Vance, Admiral Sol said, her tone warming slightly. If you're still alive, confirm. Arik leaned toward the console. I'm here. A sigh came through, soft and full of relief. Good. This gets easier with you present. Lyra stepped to the console beside him. Counselor Lyra Wren, speaking on behalf of... Counselor, Sol cut in. You mistreated one of our own. You exiled Earth. That gravitational well you formed around our solar boundary was an act of aggression. We're here to undo it. Kalos clenched his fists. The barrier was for containment. Humanity had become a destabilizing civilization. You violated interstellar code 17 times. And you gave us no chance to explain any of them. Arik replied. You saw our potential and grew afraid. You pushed us into exile and expected us to decay. Lyra looked between them, breathing hard, not with fear, but with realization. We didn't expect Earth to innovate this quickly. Arik smiled faintly. Humans don't evolve gradually. We leap. The chamber vibrated again, but this time it wasn't from the storm. The Vanguard ship powered its core, radiating light like a newborn star. The energy signature wasn't aggressive, it was a demonstration, almost ceremonial. Admiral Sol spoke once more. Council, release the suppression net around Earth. End the ban. Restore our sovereignty. We've brought proof that your accusations were based on fabricated intelligence. A hologram flickered to life, pipelines of intercepted Council data flashing across the chamber. Evidence of manipulation. Internal sabotage. Entire dossiers altered to paint humanity as dangerously unstable. Kalos stared in horror. No, that's impossible. Lyra touched the edge of the projection. These signatures are authentic. Arik looked at her. Now you know why we never stopped fighting. Silence filled the chamber as the weight of the truth settled over the Council members. Admiral Sol's voice softened. We don't want war. But we will not accept extinction disguised as diplomacy. Kalos paced, unraveling under the pressure. If these claims are accurate, our internal security has failed on a level beyond comprehension. Lyra nodded. We need an investigation. And we need to lift Earth's exile immediately. Arik exhaled slowly. Then let's do it. Kalos hesitated, then lowered his gaze in resignation. The Council votes to restore Earth's rights. The suppression net dissolved. Every screen confirmed it. The blockade was gone. Admiral Sol spoke one final time. Then let's talk peace. Arik stepped back, letting the moment wash over him. Lyra stood beside him, quiet but resolute. You humans, she said softly, were never the threat. You were the warning. Arik looked out at the Terran Vanguard ship, a symbol of defiance and hope. No, he said. We're the reminder. You don't corner a species built to survive. The Council chamber doors slid open, welcoming humanity back into the galactic stage. And for the first time in generations, Earth wasn't alone.